everyone says you gotta invest. But what does that even mean? And how do you do it?
Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Philip.
And we teach you how to do grown-up stuff.
Because adulting shouldn't suck. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and in the comments below, let us know if you like our new mics or not.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the basics of investing for beginners.
Yep. When I first got into the military, little private Cano was investing. I started at a young age and I was like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. But nobody told me how to do it or what to do. We have this little thing called the TSP, which is essentially like the military's version of the 401k, which we'll talk about here a little bit later if you guys don't know what that is. And I was putting money into it every single month right out of my paycheck. I was like, yeah, I'm investing into my retirement. But little did I know that after you set up that automatic payments to go into this TSP, the 401k, you should move that into other accounts so you can actually like grow your money.
Except nobody ever tells you that.
Nobody ever tells you. And nobody told me until like 5 or 6 years ago. So this whole time I was putting my money into the TSP. I was doing the right thing, so I had thought, but my money wasn't growing. I mean, for like 10 years, didn't grow at all, which is great. It was like a savings account pretty much at the time, but wasn't growing. So when I finally did change it, I mean, that was, 6, 7 years ago. It's pretty much tripled since then because somebody took the time to sit down and show me what I was supposed to do. And it's just made all of the difference in the world for my TSP. But nobody shows you.
He's actually, once he figured it out, been killing it.
Killing it. Before we get started, we got a disclaimer, okay? We, Alex and Philip, are not licensed financial advisors. We cannot tell you guys where to invest your money or any of that type of stuff. The whole purpose of this video is to pretty much help you guys understand the terminology in the investing world, just so you guys have a better understanding of what it all means.
Sadly, what happened in Philip's situation happens a lot, especially in the military where nobody gives you any kind of financial advice, which is just like the real world after you graduate from high school, because if you don't have a mentor or somebody teaching you this stuff, or you're not actively seeking it out, the school system and the world doesn't teach you about how to set up your retirement accounts. Now, if you do it right, and you do it when you're young, which hopefully that's why you're watching this video, then by the time you go to retire, you can have a freaking ton of money. But if you don't, you don't have hardly anything. I mean, if he'd never changed up his accounts, it would have been no better than a savings account.
Investing for retirement is totally different than putting money into a savings account or trading stocks. Investing your money typically means that you're going to put your money somewhere for a long period of time. While as trading stocks typically means you're going to be doing something on a regular basis. Okay? Putting your money in a savings account is great and you're not going to lose any money, but it's not going to really grow, and if it does, it's going to grow really slow, and it's not going to keep up with inflation. Whereas investing your money, you're going to have to accept the risk that you might lose money in the end.
But you might make a lot of money.
You might.
Hopefully, if you do it right.
Hopefully.
And if you just keep a bunch of cash around in a savings account, I mean, you might not technically lose money, but you lose purchasing power over time because of inflation.
For example, let's say you had $20,000 and you stuck it underneath your mattress for 30 years. At the end of that 30 years, you're going to have $20,000, right? As long as your mattress didn't get stolen.
Don't tell anybody where you put your money.
Right, okay? But let's say you took that same $20,000 and you stuck it into a savings account with a 2% interest rate. In 30 years, you're going to have $36,000. I mean, that's better than $20,000, right? But, okay, let's say you took that $20,000 and you stuck it into an IRA account that gave you an annual return of 7.2%, okay? Now, after 30 years, that 20 grand is going to turn into $160,000, okay? Now, what would you rather have? The $20,000 under the mattress or the $160,000 that you invested? Decisions.
So that example that Philip just gave of 7.2%, that's not even a lot. I mean, I've been making almost 20% on mine for a few years now. What'd you make last year? Like 70%?
78.
78%. That's wild. I mean, that is like
Unheard of.
way unheard of.
That was
Crazy
only
numbers.
that year.
Yeah, but 7.2% isn't a lot. The average is 10% over the course of the entire stock market. So 7.2, that's pretty conservative. Now, I know you probably don't want to work forever. Nobody wants to work forever, especially by the time they go to retire. Nobody wants to have to keep working because they didn't save up enough money or invest enough money to actually be comfortable in retirement. I mean, I know by the time I'm 65, I don't want to be a door greeter at Walmart.
I'm going to be on some white sandy beach sipping pina coladas out of a pineapple. Okay? Okay, it's going to have a little umbrella.
So if you want to know how much money you should save up by every age, we actually have a video. We're going to throw it down the link in the description, or throw a link in the description below. But it's a video about how much money you should have saved up by every age. So if you're curious about like those benchmarks along the way, it's a good video to give you a really good idea of how much money you should shoot for.
Yeah, let you know where you're at, if you're a little ahead, if you're a little behind, if you're right where you need to be. Good video.
The average American, by the time they go to retire at 65 years old, only has $65,000 in their retirement when they go to retire. That's not going to last you very long.
No bueno.
Now, people who've been investing for 10 years or more, on average, have $400,000 when they go to retire. That's a big difference.
Now, depending on the type of lifestyle you plan on having in retirement, I mean, that $65,000 might not get you very far. But, I mean, let's say you've already paid off your house, you've already paid off your car, you ain't got any other type of credit card debt or anything. I mean, you might get by for like, what, 3 years maybe? You know? If not, then you better either die or go get a job somewhere else, because those are going to be your two options. You know, to me, personally, that $400,000 sounds a lot better, because like I said earlier, I plan on traveling in retirement, so I'm going to need that extra money.
You ain't going to be sipping Mai Tais out of a coconut. You're going to be drinking coconut juice out of a can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's $65,000.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's a lot more options available for having access to licensed professionals or robo-advisors or all these other kinds of options for setting up your retirement portfolios. And the beauty is you can set it and forget it. And that's what long-term investing is. You ride it out through the highs and the lows, and once you have it set up and it's automated, it just goes on its own.
La, 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 la.
Now, before you start investing, you definitely need to have a savings account that's specifically set up for an emergency fund, because most people don't have one of those. And then when life happens and you have an emergency, they're like, oh, I'm going to throw it on a credit card, which is the wrong answer, by the way. And then if you don't have the money, or you don't have the credit card, but you have this investing account, it's way too tempting for a lot of people to go and pull money and rob from their future and take it out of their investment accounts. So have an emergency fund set up. If you don't know what that is, or you don't know how to do it, we have a video on that. We're going to throw that in the description below. So check that out too.
Regardless of where you put your money, you're giving your money to some sort of company, government, or entity with the hopes that in the end of it all, they're going to give you more money.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. People generally invest with a specific goal in mind. This could be retirement. This could be your children's education. This could be buying a house. The list could go on forever and ever. People who start investing in their 20s instead of their 30s will typically end up with twice the account balance at the age of retirement.
That's wild.
Wild.
That's a lot more.
Wild.
I mean, time's on your side when you're young, but nobody ever takes advantage of it because they don't know better.
Yeah. So, how much money does someone invest, and where do they put it? There's a lot of different options out there, so we're going to talk about the most common ones and explain what they are.
Okay, so the first one is a 401k. And what that is, it's an employer-established retirement plan, and it's offered by most large employers. But if you're going to work for like a small mom-and-pop company or something like that, then they typically don't have one of these because it's more complicated, and a lot of small business owners don't want to set them up.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It is. So you're agreeing as the employee to have your employer take out a certain percentage of your money each month out of your paycheck and then put it directly into your retirement plan. Sometimes the employer will actually match your contribution that's going to go into your retirement account. So, for example, let's say you're putting 5% into your retirement account every month. Your employer might match up to that 5% for a total of 10% that's going to go into your investment account. And if they're going to do that, absolutely 100% recommend taking advantage of that, because that's just free money that's going to help your retirement account grow that much faster.
Absolutely. Financial professionals are going to tell you that you should be putting in 12 to 15% of your monthly income into your 401k. That's the goal. Now, you could do more. Typically, it's going to max out at 20%, and you can't put any more than that. But that's the goal, all right? If you can't put in that much money, don't sweat it. Just put in some money. I mean, if you can only invest 1% of your pay or $50 to $100 a month, whatever it is, do it, because that money is going to grow over time. And then once you can start affording more money to go into your 401k, just turn it up. Okay, now you're at 2%. Okay, now you're at 3%. And so on and so forth until you get up there to that 12 to 15%. Okay? You'll thank yourself, I promise. There's going to be two types of 401ks, and they pretty much differ based on how they're taxed. They're going to be a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k.
With a traditional 401k, the money that you're going to put into that has not been taxed yet. So it technically will grow faster because it wasn't taxed. And then one day when you go to pull it out at the age of retirement, they're going to tax that money because it was never taxed in the first place. Whereas with a Roth 401k, you're going to pay that taxes on that money up front. So Uncle Sam gets their money, and then it has however many years you invest to grow. And then someday when you go to retire, you can take all that money out and you don't pay any taxes on all that growth. Can't recommend which one's better for you because we're not licensed, but those are two very, very different options. And they grow at different rates.
Next up, we're going to talk about an IRA. An IRA is an individual retirement account that you can get created for yourself through a bank or a company. Okay, these are going to be separate from a 401k because remember, 401ks are going to be made through the employer. All right, the IRAs, they're going to have an annual limit of how much money you can deposit into this account. $6,000 as of 2021. Whereas a 401k pegs out at $19,500 if you're below the age of 50.
As I said earlier, most large companies have a 401k. Now, if they don't, or you work for a small company, or you're an entrepreneur, then if you want to have a retirement account, typically you have an IRA. Now, if you do work for a large employer and you have a 401k, you can also have an IRA in addition to that. You can do both. IRAs can't be withdrawn until you're 59 and a half or older. And if you do, because you needed money for some kind of emergency because you didn't have an emergency fund, then you're going to pay a 10% penalty withdrawal rate or fee. I don't like the way I said that. Ready? Go. And go again. IRAs are not supposed to be withdrawn from until you're 59 and a half or older. And if you do go to take some of that money out because you had an emergency and you didn't have an emergency fund, then you're going to pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty rate. There's two types of IRAs, just like with the 401k. You've got the traditional and you've got the Roth. Same things apply. So traditional is going to grow faster because you're not paying taxes on it until you pull the money out at the end. And then the Roth, you're paying taxes on it up front, and then you don't pay any taxes on the money at the very end. So can't tell you which one's right for you, but most financial professionals or financial advisors are going to tell you when you're young, put your money in the Roth because you're taxed at a lower rate because you're making less money usually when you're young than when you're at the tail end of your career and you're at the top of the pay scale. You're going to pay higher taxes the more money you make. So once again, we're not telling you what to do. That's just common knowledge that's out there from financial advisors.
Now, we're going to talk about stocks. Stocks, known as shares, can be bought on apps like Ameritrade, Robinhood, Webull, and all sorts of other ones. All right? And they're public stocks that anybody can buy. The price of stocks are going to be all over the place. I mean, you can buy penny stocks. You can buy $1,000 stocks. You know, whatever the price is going to be, you can buy them, and the prices of those stocks can change at any time. So, for example, if you buy a stock for $1, and tomorrow the price of that stock goes up to $2 for whatever reason, you just doubled your money. But if that same dollar stock that you just bought goes down to 50 cents tomorrow, then you just lost half of your money. But that's what happens when you play the stock game. It can be risky.
The next one up is bonds. Now, this is a type of loan that's going to pay you interest. You can buy a bond from a company or different types of government, whether it's city, state, local, county, and they usually issue bonds in order to pay for projects or to raise money as capital if you're a company. Now, a bond with a company is typically going to pay more money than a bond with a government. Bonds with companies, they can be risky. What if that company goes under, right? So a bond with a company will usually pay you more money in interest, whereas a bond with a government, it's a safe bet that that government is probably going to still be there in 5 or 10 years whenever that bond is due. So they're not going to have as high of a interest rate that they're going to pay you, but it's a safer bet. So you've got different kinds of bonds that are out there. Now let's say a state needs to raise money for a bridge. Okay, you might buy a bond for $5,000 and then it's going to pay you interest over the course of that bond, and it might be, I don't know, $1,500 you get from that bond with the state. Now, you can have a same bond with a private company. Maybe they've been around for a while, maybe they haven't been, but maybe you make $5,000 on that $5,000 bond. Maybe you lose everything because that company went under. There's different risk associated with different types of bonds. One of the ways you can assess the different risk involved with these bonds is the Moody's Corporate Bond Index, and that gives you a rating, and it tells you how risky that company is. So if you're going to do this, just know Moody's Bond Index is a great place to actually figure out who you want to invest money with.
Okay, look, I know this stuff all sounds like a whole nother language, but really we're just here trying to break it down for you guys, and hopefully you understand it a little bit better after watching this video. We just want you guys to know that investing early is important. If you guys can start off now when you guys are young adults, investing every month and looking at it as a bill that has to be paid no matter what, like rent, then it will be an easier way for you to maintain that habit as you get further into adulthood.
And we get it. When you're young, you don't have a whole lot of money, and paying rent and all those other bills, they're freaking expensive. So do what you can every month, whether it's $25 or $50 a month. I mean, I didn't have $100 a month when I was 18. There was extra money. I did have $25 or $50. So do what you can. I guarantee you, you're going to thank yourself down the road.
Hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. In the comments below, let us know if you're going to start investing or not.
And we'll see you in the next video.